Hey everyone, it's been a while. Evasion here, and welcome back to another Dragonflight Rogue PvP guide. After spending a few months playing only Wrath Lich King and Pokemon Violet, I decided to give the game a try again. I'm having a blast so far, and so I'd like to talk more about this in another video. I always feel it's awkward to go on big side rants in my guides. All things considered, I started up yesterday, and I'm fully honor geared. Y'all may know some tricks I haven't figured out yet, so share them below in the comments if you think of anything. While finishing my honor grind, I decided that this time around I would focus on Assassination. So in this video, we will be talking about the Master of Poisons, the Assassination Rogue. I will talk about talents, honor talents, rotation tips, as well as the gear I'm currently using. I will likely do a more organized rotation video separate to this one. So make sure you're subscribed if you're new here. And alright, let's hop into it. Kingsbane is the key capstone talent for this build. This build is based on setting up massive burst windows using Shadow Dance, Deathmark, Cold Blood, and Kingsbane. I think Kingsbane's maybe a little bit overtuned right now, but we're going to have fun with it for now, even before this gets nerfed to next week. Weapon poisons are a very minor part of the damage dealt for this build, so basically I've tried to drop everything from the build that would make weapon poisons deal more damage. Weapon poisons will still be kind of important, but generally, from my experience, when I usually go drop Kingsbane, things usually die pretty quick before it actually needs to ramp up, because the instant portion of Kingsbane is dealing a lot of damage right now. For this build, the talent points are pretty tight, but there are some things you can move around if you want. There is ways to get Subterfuge. You could move, I would not move Featherfoot. You could move Unbreakable Stride. Most people just keep you slowed if you're going to be slowed. You could also move Fleet-Footed, or maybe if you're in a more organized setting, you could trade out Iron Stomach. But I think having the improved healing is somewhat decent. And usually you don't need Subterfuge, but it can be pretty clutch. The other talent, we'll be using Wound Poison with this build, so no Deadly Poison. As such, we've dropped Virulent Poisons, as well as Improved Poisons, like I had mentioned before. This Application Chance Improve could be kind of good for Kingsbane. However, there's just no points to get it. It's not worth it. There's better things. Another choice you have here, you can go Improved Ambush or Tight Spender. Tight Spender, basically, I added it up from the shuffle rounds that I have played. And generally, you're saving, like, in a game where, say, you hit 12 Ruptures and, like, 5 Envenoms, like, you really don't save that much energy. You maybe get an extra ability for that. Versus if you play, if you have the Blindside talent for the chance to get free ambushes, as well as Shadow Dance, which lets you ambush, and utilizing this improved ambush talent, you will get so many extra combo points. It is worth way more energy than you can ever save with Tight Spender. Especially since in PvP, we generally have Verse Mastery, so our rotation is less spammy than if we had, say, talent or stats like Crit and Haste. It's good to have a little bit of those stats, but that's kind of for later. Basically, we have this Lethality talent also increases the critical strike damage bonus of your combo point generating move. So in this case, this is Kingsbane, because Kingsbane generates a combo point, something that's really important. Extra 5% crit for combo points. This is good here too, but basically you're just going to be saving Cold Blood to use on Kingsbane every single time. Thistle Tea is really, really good as well, as it helps your bleeds and your actual Kingsbane dot deal more damage as well. During Shadow Dance, we do have the Night Stalker talent, so increase our damage. Everything else in the general rogue tree is just providing us with either less damage taken or more mobility. And we also have Gouge too. It is nice to have. You would definitely not want to skip this. I don't even know if you can skip it with the new talents. You can. Okay. You want this though. You definitely want this. All right. So diving into the Assassination talent points now. Basically, we have everything that improves our damage. Just 15% more Garrote Rupture damage, 50% more Garrote damage when used from stealth. More crit strike when coming out from stealth. This one's actually, this one's questionable. It's not the craziest talent, but it's kind of helpful because since you have to ramp up your damage, it kind of reduces that ramp a little by giving you a little spike when you first start, the bigger crit. Well above 50% of your maximum energy. Your Garrote Rupture and Crimson Tempest consume 2 energy to duplicate 30% of any damage dealt. This talent actually adds quite a bit of damage. I do like this talent. And you need Iron Wire here too. This is what gives your Garrote the silence. It says it's 6 seconds, but to my knowledge, it's not 6 seconds in PvP. It would be so nice if we had a thing in the game where we could hold Shift or Alt or something on the talent window and see how abilities were in PvP when you were just on the talent page. I think that'd be really cool. The Doom Blade, yeah, this just adds another bleed. The purpose of this talent here is actually just to get more of an effect from this Lethal Dose talent. Basically, this just gives us a damage increase on our, basically nature damage, our bleeds, everything per extra bleed and weapon poison and nature damage that is on the target. So the more various dots you have on the target, the more damage you deal. That's great. We like that kind of stuff. Deathmark, obviously, huge offensive cooldown. Since this duplicates your bleeds, you can actually get... this is basically how you utilize Sudden Demise. If you have double fresh bleeds out on the target and they hit that range, they just take a lot of damage. However, right now, Kingsbane is hitting so hard that usually if you time your Kingsbane properly, they pretty well go on the ground, you know? You put the target on the ground. So if Kingsbane does get nerfed a little bit, this build can probably still function, because then we will just focus more on using fresh bleeds and then using Kingsbane to kind of knock them into execute range for the Sudden Demise damage. And so, I mean, especially when you're working together with somebody else, like, you don't have to totally 100-0 people. It's nice to have kill pressure, though, because that's kind of what makes a good spec in solo shuffle. Being able to influence the match a lot on the damage side of things is really good. If you just kind of have, like, pressure, some classes kind of just have more pressure damage, and it doesn't really have kill damage. And they can, like, honestly, they can top the damage meter, and the games just don't end because they can't finish anybody off. So if they're not with somebody who can finish people off, it's not that good. So that's what I really like about this build, is that this build kills people. And unlike Sub, which usually focuses on killing people while they're locked down, since Assassination doesn't have as much lockdown, it is usually the go-to spec when you want to deal damage, because it's able to last, like, and what I mean by last is not get nerfed for a longer period of time, because it's supposed to deal damage. That's what really all it does, is it does damage. You may be wondering why I don't have Bone Spike. Bone Spike's actually pretty good. It's honestly pretty good. If you like it, you can play it. You can drop this point out of Tiny Toxic Blade. Your Shiv's no longer going to hit like a truck, but you're going to have Bone Spike. You can generate some range combo points. It's pretty good. You get more effect from Lethal Dose, which is good. However, the reason why I'm not playing this, I even have a keybind for it, but generally I track the cooldown of it on my main action bar. I just don't like that Assassination has so many optional damage keybinds. Like, we could have Echoing Reprimand, and we could have Bone Spike, T, and Dance all at the same time. And that's just like, it's just so many keybinds. So basically, I was not playing with Bone Spike. If we get, you know, if this gets nerfed a little bit, there's definitely builds where I can see myself playing Bone Spike. But yeah, now on to Honor Talents. Basically, I use Smoke Bomb, Hemotoxin, and Veil of Midnight almost every time. The other talent that you can swap to is Dismantle. Generally, if you don't need Veil of Midnight, you can put on Dismantle. Or, you know, you could swap off Bomb, but generally I would not recommend doing this, because especially in solo shuffle, Smoke Bomb is going to allow you to steal a lot of rounds if you kind of hang on to it and use it at the right moment. Hemotoxin also really insane, because you are getting that 30% healing reduction when you need it, because you're using Shiv to increase your nature damage. I kind of skipped over this in the talent section, but if you're still here, you're getting rewarded, I guess. Shiv basically increase your nature damage by a lot. This is going to make your Kingsbane hit a lot harder. You think I would have covered that a minute ago, but you're getting it right there. That's all I want to say about the Honor Talents. Basically, these three. You can mess around with the others, but honestly, they're not as crazy. Maneuverability can be good in combination with the Featherfoot talent when you're fighting DHs to try and, you know, just have insane mobility. This talent used to suck, but because Featherfoot exists, maneuverability no longer sucks. So you can consider swapping to that. Probably more of a 2v2 strategy, though. I wouldn't recommend this as much in Shuffle. That's that. Let's talk a little bit about rotation stuff for a second. All right, so rotational stuff. So I don't really have this down to a robotic science just yet. So there's not necessarily, that's why I wanted to do a rotation video in a separate video. But in general, you're trying to get everything up on the target, all of your bleeds. So garrote, rupture, internal bleeding. If you have bone spike, obviously bone spike, just to get more effect from lethal dose. You want to have shiv present and thistle tea present as well, because it increases your mastery, which is more poison and bleed damage. Kingsbane is poison damage or nature damage, and it makes it hit harder. So basically, you want to have all your bleeds up. You want to have dance up for the Night Stalker increase. You ideally want to have Death Mark up for the double of your dots, because that's more, once again, more lethal dose damage. And then you're going to press Kingsbane, and you're just going to hit really hard. So another thing too, since we have the blindside talent, we are going to have those free ambushes, which is pretty cool. I actually love the quality of life change, kind of on a side note, that they made it so that ambush swaps over mutilate on your action bar when it procs. This is really cool. It saves a keybind. Another thing to keep in mind too is we only have 5 combo points with this build, so it is possible to press abilities and waste combo points. I would not be afraid to use combo point finishers at 4. This is generally true with the other builds, but when you have deeper stratagem, generally you want to get over 5 for that 5% damage increase. Yeah, don't press mutilate or ambush at 4 combo points. Just spend your finisher and go to the next cycle. It's much better to put out finishers slightly early than it is to waste an abundance of combo points. This is something that actually makes Assassination feel kind of clunky. If you're not rotating your combo points efficiently, it can make the spec feel a lot slower. The thing that I always liked about Assassination is that it actually feels like you spend your energy and have kind of some downtime instead of being a super spammy spec like a lot of other, I would say a lot of other specs in retail WoW. Kind of like that in Classic, where it's like you have more of a waiting period between pressing buttons. Energy feels more like a resource rather than something that's just like spammy and non-existent. But anyway, that is pretty well gonna do it for this video. Oh yeah, the gear. I never talked about the gear. You just want to go mastery versatility. There's nothing too crazy here. You can have a little bit of haste, a little bit of crit if you want. Mostly the haste will just come on your trinkets. I am using the on use so that I can pair it with Kingsbane. This isn't mandatory. You could use the proc. Honestly, I just have it bound into my Kingsbane. They both have a 1-minute cooldown, so they're always going to be up together. Pretty simple macro here. I just have /use 13. This will always use the top trinket slot. /cast Goldblood and /cast Kingsbane. Nothing too complicated. One button press will just smash the button and, you know, you're going to kill people. Yeah, that's that. If you enjoyed this video and you're still here, please, I said please like the video. I appreciate it so much. If you want to see more videos, if you want to see like, let me know what kind of content you want to see. I'm probably just going to upload Shuffle. If I get some good Shuffle games, maybe we'll do some commentary. I'd like to get back into doing 2s. Originally, when I started playing, I was actually going to focus on M+. I'm still going to be playing Mythic Plus quite a bit. The reason I started playing Shuffle in the first place is I wanted 1600 real quick to get my free tier piece, which I accomplished. But yeah, I've played with this build so far. I've played 24 rounds. I've won 20 of them. We're off to a great start. The game's a lot of fun right now. I'm having fun. We might get nerfed. But I am excited to be playing Assassination, as I have spent most of Dragonflight playing Subtlety. But yeah, if I want heavy control gameplay, I'm just going to look to Wrath of the Lich King while it's around instead of worrying about that, and we're just going to deal a lot of damage on retail. It's going to be cool. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again next time.